Okay, 12.4, I would say is the most difficult section in this chapter. It's called the fundamental counting principle. You see this on the ACTs. It's not easy. I'm going to go all the way to the last page. There's only 3 pages of notes today. You have to have number sense to be good at this section. For example, you need to know that there are only 10 digits. If they ask you to find the digits, there are only 10 digits, and the digits are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. There are 10 digits. You have to know how an odd number and an even number works. I know some of you are thinking, wow, this is really basic stuff, but it isn't. This is very confusing for a lot of students. For example, 123. Does the ones, does the tens, or does the hundred spot tell you if it's an odd or an even number? You have to know about number sense, which I mean is ones, tens, hundreds. What makes it an odd number? What makes it an odd number is the ones. If the number is a 1, a 3, a 5, or a 7, it makes it an odd number. Forgot the 9, sorry. And if you have 0, 2, 4, 6, 8 in the 1 spot, it makes it an even number. You also have to know about the alphabet. How many letters are in our alphabet? I'm hoping you know that there are 26 letters of the alphabet. Okay, here we go. I'm going to start very basic and work my way up to more difficult type problems. So here we go. The fundamental counting principle uses spaces to help you come up with your answers. What do I mean by spaces? So I'm going to start with a really easy problem. The first 2 are going to be very easy, and then I'm going to get into some more difficult problems. So listen carefully. How many ways can you pick out an outfit if you have 3 shirts and 2 pairs of pants? How many ways, and this is on the ACT, they're going to ask you, how many ways can you pick out an outfit if you have 3 shirts and 2 pairs of pants? What I mean by spaces is, I'm going to put 2 spaces down, and in between my spaces is a multiplication sign. What these spaces mean are the choices for shirts and the choices for pants. There are 3 shirts and 2 pairs of pants. There are 6 ways you can get ready in the morning. I could show you. I could make my little shirts if I wanted to. Here are my shirts, and here are my groovy pants. I know they're not the best, but there's 2 pairs of pants. This was the red shirt. This is my green shirt, and this is my blue shirt. And these are my polka dotted pants, and these are my striped pants. And basically my red shirt can go with my polka dotted pants, or my red shirt could go with my striped pants, and you can easily come up with your 6 ways. But you wouldn't want to do it this way on the test, because what happens if you had 10 shirts and 12 pants? You sure wouldn't want to do it that way. So you'd rather use spaces to help you come up with your answers. What do the spaces stand for? They stand for the possibilities of what you're talking about. Okay, let's do another easy one, and then let's get into some more difficult problems that you would see on the ACT. You would not see number 1 on the ACT. You're not going to see number 2 on the ACT. How many ways can you choose a 1-topping pizza if you have 3 different crusts and 8 different toppings? What we're talking about are two different things. One thing I'm talking about is the crust, and the second thing I'm talking about is the toppings on your pizza. There are 3 different crusts and 8 different toppings. There are 24 different ways you can choose a pizza. Okay, let's keep going. I need to see these spaces down to show me if you know what you're doing. Now it becomes very difficult. So here we go. How many numbers less than 60 end with the numbers 1, 3, or 4? And let's make sure we put how many positive numbers. There's a lot of numbers less than 60 if we talk about negative numbers too. How many positive numbers less than 60 end with a 1, 3, or 4? Well, you need to have number sense in order to do these problems. You need to think of numbers less than 60, and I'm just going to throw some out there. Is 54 less than 60? Yes. Does it end in a 4? Yes, it ends with one of those numbers. What about 21? Is that number less than 60, and does it end with one of those 3 numbers? Yes. Let's do one more. How about the number 3? Is that a positive number less than 60 and end with a 1, 3, or 4? On the ACT, you could probably sit there and list them if you wanted to, but you have a 1 minute to do this problem. So instead of doing it by trying to list them, I'm going to show you by making a spaces. What does this stand for? It stands for the 2-digit numbers that I'm talking about over here. Aren't these 2-digit numbers? I'm also have to list one space, which stands for my 1-digit numbers that are less than 60, like the number 3. So I need a 2-digit spaces and I need a 1-digit space. Well, let's start with this one right here. How many 1-digit numbers end with a 1, 3, or a 4? This stands for 1 digit. How many choices are there? There are 3 choices. That 3 doesn't stand for the number 3. It stands for the number of choices that can be put there. What are the 3 choices? The number of choices are the 1, the 3, or the 4. So there are 3 choices that you can put there. 2-digit numbers have a 1s here and the 10s here. Well, the 1s have to be a 1, 3, or 4 because you want it to end in a 1, 3, or 4. So there has to be 3 numbers can only go right there. The 1, the 3, or the 4 are the only choices that can go in there. But then how many choices for the 10s? Well, 54, doesn't 5, isn't that a 21? Can't a 5 go in there? Can't a 2 go in there? Can't 3 go in that spot? You have to be less than 60. So can't a 1 go in the 10 spot? Can't a 2, can't a 3, can't a 4, and can't a 5 go in the 10 spot? Don't you have 5 numbers that can go in that spot? What numbers can go in the 1 spot? When you look at a number, there are only 3 numbers, the 1, the 3, and the 4. How do you come up with the numbers? You put the 10 spot with the 1 spot, and what happens when you combine the 10s and the 1s? Doesn't that make the number 11? Did you get what I'm talking about? There are 15 numbers that end in 1, 3, and 4, and there are only 3 numbers that end that are 1 digit. There are 18 numbers that are less than 60 that end in a 1, 3, and 4. Do you believe me? Let's show it to you the long way. If you don't believe me, let's show you the long way. This is way quicker doing it this way. But 11 is one number, 13 is another number, 14 is another number, 21, 23, 24, 31, 33, 34, 41, 43, 44, 51, 53, 54, There are 15 two-digit numbers. There they are. There were 5 numbers in the tens digit. You see the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, and the 5. And there are only 3 in the ones digit. The 1, the 3, and the 4. And that's how we got our 15. And there's only 1-digit numbers. The 1, the 3, and the 4. Okay, let's do another one. People have to do this for a living. They have to give out license plates in every state. Does anybody know what, don't we have 3 and 3 for Minnesota? But somebody has to keep track of license plates and how to give out license plates. So let's just talk about a 2-symbol license plate. They want 2 symbols on this license plate. 2 symbols on a license plate. You can use letters and digits. I think most of you know that we can use letters and digits on license plates. And you can, using at least 1 letter, you have to use at least 1 letter in your license plate. How many license plates can you make if you have to use at least 1 letter in your plate? Well, you need to know that there are 26 letters in the alphabet. These spaces stand for how many letters could go in that spot. Couldn't there be 26 letters that can go in that spot? But couldn't you have a digit over in this spot? How many digits are there? I'm hoping you know that there's only 10 digits. What are the 10 digits? 0 through 9 can go in there. So here's one example for a 2-symbol license plate. A3. Basically, there are 260 of them that can be written like that because 26 times 10 is 260. A3 is one of them. Here's another one. B4. That's another of the 260. I'm not going to list all the 260. Those are not all the answers. You have to read this carefully. You need at least 1 letter. Couldn't you have a digit first and then the letters on your license plate? Couldn't there be 10 here and 26 here? Couldn't there be another 260 choices? Couldn't a license plate look like this? You need the digit first. Let's have the digit 0. And let's have the letter, letter K. Okay. Let's have another one. Let's have the number 3 and the letter L. I'm not going to list them all, but how many are there? There's 260 different ways you can come up with a license plate. Again, read the fine print. You need at least 1 letter. Couldn't you have 2 sets of letters? Couldn't you have 26 and 26, which is equal to 676 different ways? So here's another way you could write a license plate. AB. You could also write it as BA if you really wanted to. You could write it as SL. You could write it as TB. I don't want to list them all, but there's 676. You know how long it would take you on the ACT if they asked you this question, if you didn't know how to use your spaces? So what you have to do is add up 260, 260, and 676. There are 1,196 different ways you can write a license plate using 2 symbols, at least 1 letter, showing you that these spaces go quicker than actually listing all 1,196 of them. Okay, let's do a couple more of these and we are done. I think we have 2 more problems to do and that's it. I'm trying to do all of these so that you have an idea on how to do these on your worksheet when you're trying to do them by yourself. Identification labels are composed of 4 letters. How many different labels are possible? You know what? Let's not do, let's do 4 digits instead of letters. Let's do 4 digits. Isn't your lunch number 4 digits? I think it is, isn't it? If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I think it's 4 digits. I don't go through the lunch line, but I think it is 4 digits. Let's say, how many lunch numbers can you pass out to our school if you use 4 digits? How many different labels are possible? Well, this one stands for the first digit in your lunch code. This one stands for the second digit in your, and this one stands for the third, and this one stands for the fourth. How many digits are there? 0 through 9. You could have there are 10. You could have a 0 there, you could have a 1, you could have a 2. You also have 10 for this one. You could have 10 for this one, and you could have 10 for this one. What does that make? There are 1,000 different 4-digit numbers that you can make. Does 1,000 do it for us? Does 1,000 do it for our school? Yes, it does. Because our school, you know what? I don't know if it does it for, I think we have about 1,000 kids in our school system. So I think it just barely does it. So, okay, how many ways can you answer a 5-question true and false test? Last problem. How many ways can you take a 5-question true and false test? This is what some students are going to put on the ACT. They're going to read it really fast. You have 1 minute or less to do this problem, and you're going to say, how many ways can I answer a 5-question true and false test? You're going to make 2 spaces because it's a true and false test, and you're going to put a 5 there and a 5 there, but that doesn't even make sense. What you have to do is think about this. You're taking a 5-question true and false test. First question. This is the first question. This is the second question. This is the third question. This is the fourth question. And this is the 5th question. Again, what do these spaces stand for? It's your choices. How many choices can you put there? Can't you put a true? Can't you put a T or an F right there? How many choices are there for you for the first blank? 2. How many choices for the second blank? 2. How many for the next one? 2. How many for the next one? And how many for the next one? What is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2? There are 32 different ways you could answer this 5-question true and false test. Let's do one more. How many numbers, odd numbers, how many odd numbers, I don't know why I put a 3 there, how many odd numbers less than, how many positive odd numbers less than 300? Let's go 300, yeah, let's just go 300. How many positive odd numbers less than 300 are there? Well, you can try to sit there and try to figure it out. Let's make it 305. Let's make it 305. Well, you know that there are 3-digit numbers. You know that there are 2-digit numbers that are less than 300. And you know that there are only 1-digit number less than 305. If you don't believe me, if you're less than 305, isn't 5 less than 305? Isn't 5 an odd number? Isn't 21 less than 305? Isn't that also an odd number? Isn't it 123 less than 305? And isn't that an odd number? Why did I need, like this, a 3? Why did I also need a 2? And why did I also need a 1? Because I have number sense in my mind. So I'm going to start with the first one down here. How many numbers that are odd that are less than 305? There are 5 numbers. What are the 5 numbers? 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. The 5 does not stand for the number 5. It stands for the choices that go there. There are 5 numbers. Okay, let's do the 2-digit numbers. There are 5 for the ones because that's what makes it an odd number. And there are 9 numbers that can go here for the tens digit. Does everybody know why I didn't put a 10 there? Because the 10th digit is the number 0. And if I put a 0 there and then the number 1, that would make it a 1-digit number. But if I put a 1 there, that makes it. If I can put a 2 there, I can put a 2 there, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, a 7, an 8, and a 9. I have 9 choices that go there and not the number 0. Again, I only have 9 choices there because I can't put a 0 there. It'll make it a 2-digit number. This can be a 5 because it has to, the only numbers that can go there to make it odd are 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. But this can be 10. And that's where it gets a little confusing. So basically 50 times 9 is 450 numbers. This makes 45 and this makes 5. Altogether there are 500 numbers less than 305. You know how long it would take you if you had to sit there and do this using counting them for the ACT? It would take you a very long time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send out a video on how to do the problems on your worksheet also. Okay, good luck. I'd say this is the toughest thing you have to do in this chapter. So